GOP moves to rein in president's emergency powers. President Trump on Friday vetoed Congress' attempt to block his national emergency on the U.S.-Mexico border wall. With neither chamber, but Republicans are already setting their sights on making it easier to terminate future emergency declarations, setting up an intriguing round 2. It's Senior. Marco Rubio, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, has tapped Senior. Under the National Emergencies Act, Congress can force a vote on a resolution of disapproval if they want to try to block an emergency declaration. But a president can. Even GOP senators who sided with Trump are interested in the broader issue. McConnell told reporters after a closed-door caucus lunch on Thursday that there was roughly a third of the Republican caucus, including members of leadership, is already backing legislation from Senior. Mike Lee Utah. Senior. John Kennedy A battle with Republicans would just aggravate his existing problems with Democrats, who are suing him in court and plan subsequent votes to challenge his declaration for the wall. A Democratic aide said the House would hold a vote to override Trump's veto on March 26. Meanwhile, Trump, as part of a failed 11th-hour plea to get Republicans to vote against the resolution of disapproval, signaled that he could support making future changes to the National Emergencies Act, despite refusing to accept a deal earlier in the week. Johnson, asked about Trump's penchant for changing his mind on the issue, stressed that he would seek input from the White House. He added that he thought the basic. There's an aide confirmed that Senior. Rand Paul House Speaker Nancy Pelosi D. California, and Schumer both, but Schumer appeared to soften his stance slightly after Thursday's Senate vote approving the resolution against Trump, saying he wanted to look at its details. Drew Hamill, Senior. Dick Durbin Dealist
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park,